everybody, it's your girl Barbie J here with this week's recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, The Oval, Season 5, Episode 10, Sound of Silence. And that's basically what this review should be, silent, because the episode was just, I mean, anyhow. For those of you who are new to this channel or are regulars and still haven't subscribed, please take a moment right now and subscribe. Please subscribe. Help my channel grow. So I ask that you subscribe, then give me the thumbs up like button, write a comment to get in on the chatter about this episode, and share, because sharing is caring. Now this episode starts off with Alan is in Donald's office and Victoria comes in after hanging up from Jason because she's trying to find out where Jason was and asking him, let me send somebody to get you. And he's like, no, what I'm about to do next is going to ruin you and Dad. Screw y'all. He's like, I'm done with y'all creeps. So Victoria goes in there, sees Alan. Now, Alan kind of got busted going through Donald's stuff, looking through his stuff. He didn't know somebody's going to bust in there. So that might be something we need to think about, because remember, he's snooping for those FBI people, and Victoria just might go back and tell Donald something. You don't know. It's just something for us to just realize. Anyway, so she's asking for Donald. He calls Donald. Donald's on his way in. He'll be there in a minute. Donald comes in, asks what's going on. Telling him she heard from Jason. He's like, what? Yeah. So where's he calling from? I don't know where he's calling from. So Donald tried to be slick and calls, I guess, security to ask for a log of all his calls that's coming to the First Lady's cell phone and their locations. And Victoria tells him, say in the last hour. And he's like, why? See, he's trying to get a log of all her calls to find out what she's doing. She said, just tell him in the last hour. So, of course, he did. But I forgot to tell y'all that at this point, Alan is out. She told Alan to get out, and so he don't hear everything. So then Donald calls, Kyle in and telling Kyle, putting him up to date what's going on, and tell him he has to get on the server and do something. And then they're like, he said, Sam is going to know. Because they said, how is Sam going to know? Because Sam takes the lead on everything, So they're like, where is Sam? Nobody knows where Sam is. So he tells Kyle to go ahead and do it anyway. Meanwhile, Victoria's acting like Sam's getting on her nerves. He's getting under my skin. And Donald came back with I heard he's done that quite often. Got under that skin. And she's like, what? She's like, oh yeah, you start that and I'm going to have to talk about her who just left. He said, who, Kyle? She said, yeah, her. Keep pretending like you don't now doing something with him. So he kept saying, Sam, getting on, because she kept saying, if you say Sam, keep with him, I'm going to talk about Kyle. He didn't care. Anyway, next we have Sam come in, security, and that guy who's saying his name is Agent is telling him that the president is looking for him and all that. And he's like, why is he looking for me? And how many times did he ask for me? He's also saying, I don't have any calls. Maybe I was out of range. Because he said, well, he's asked for you several times. I don't like that guy who plays Agent. It's something with him. I don't know. Does he treat everybody the same? I'm just wondering. He don't treat Kyle like that. Does he treat Max like that? Because he seems to have a problem, I don't know, with Sam and with Bobby right now. I don't know. It's just seeming that way to me. But I could be wrong. Put it down in the comment section. I could be wrong. And then after he comes in and goes upstairs to the president's residence bedroom, then Nancy comes and she says she's Richard's wife, and he said he's very busy. And she's like, I don't mind waiting and stuff. And he's like, okay. And then she goes, well, can you, he said, well, it's going to be a while. But she's like, fine, I'll still wait. She said, can you call him and let him know I'm here? And the agent goes and starts doing something else. And she said, now? He said, excuse me, ma'am. She said, call him now. And he's like, okay. I was like, damn, I don't like him. So he calls up to Richard and tells Richard that his wife is there. And he said, I told him to tell him I'm busy. She said she'll wait. So he's like, oh, okay. So Richard's pissed. He hangs up the phone. And Priscilla's like, what was that about? And he tells Priscilla, it's Nancy. She's here. And Priscilla's like, oh, yeah. She said she was stopping by. He said, you think you could have warned me and let me know? She's like, why don't you just deal with it? It's the end of the day. We're about to leave. The night staff is here. Just deal with it. Deal with your relationship. But she's so good at telling him to deal with stuff, but she ain't dealing with Sam. The way she dealing with it is not even talking to him. Richard has a situation where his wife was having an affair with his father, an affair. Priscilla's situation is Sam slept with Victoria for 5 minutes, had sex with Victoria for 5 minutes. But she's telling him to deal with it and go through and saying how Nancy doesn't even remember because I told her what she said and she doesn't remember any of it. And meanwhile, she can't deal with the 5 minutes of sex that he had with Victoria. So it's ridiculous. Take your own damn advice. But anyway, Sam comes in there to talk to them, and he tells Richard he needs to talk to him first. Priscilla won't even speak. She's just being rude. It's like, I don't like her attitude. I really don't. And Richard's telling him don't go up there. And they take too long to tell him what's going on. He's like, why? What's going on? And Priscilla's like, oh, let him go up there. He needs to go up there. Be doing me a favor. And she's telling Sam to take off his vest when he go up there. And he's like, don't go up there. He's shooting people. He's shooting. He's like, what? He said, yeah. He said, well, I can't ignore him because he asked for me, which makes sense. He asked for him. So he's like, okay. And Priscilla's smiling, thinking it's funny and everything. And, Richard looks at her like, really? You gonna get this man killed? She's like, I don't care. I don't even care. I said, she knows she cares. She trying to act like she don't. But so Sam gets up there. What they didn't tell her is what they should have told him. I'm sorry, they should have told him that the president thinks that he was in bed with Victoria when he really wasn't. It was Eli. So Sam gets up there and he goes into the room and he's like, sir. And he's like, hello, Sam. And he's like, tells him to get the comforter and put it over his head. First he puts it over his shoulder. And because, Sam didn't understand. And no, who would understand what the heck is going on in his paranoid head? And so he puts it on. He said, don't put it on like James Brown. Because that's what I was thinking about too. It was so funny. And he's like, don't put it on like James Brown. And he's like, put it over your head. Put it all the way over. Now walk over now say boo. Boo. Now say boo. Boo. Now walk over to the door. He's like, no, over to the right. He's like, I can't see, sir. Just do it. No, he wouldn't tell Sam why he wanted him to do it, any of that. He goes out in the hallway. Richard's out there pouring tea or whatever he doing and sees him. look like a Ku Klux Klan. and he go back in like he a ghost. And he tells him, you know what, Sam, for the first time in your life, being short saved you because it wasn't you. But see, that's a bunch of bull because Hunter was on the ground. Hunter was on the ground when he came through. So, Eli didn't really stand but to open the door, I think. And I don't even know if he was standing straight up there. So, Tyler Perry, sorry, but I don't know if that scene works right there with him being able to tell how tall the person was in the bedroom. Anyway, so he dismissed Sam and let him go. And now he's sitting there going, who the hell was in this bed? Yeah, why don't you try some of them hookers that you had? They was the ones in the bed, Hunter. They were the ones. Anyway, he comes out of the bedroom and he sees Richard. And Richard's like, what was that about? And I don't know. Sam's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But he was pissed. Sam was pissed the way he made him feel. But it seems like Richard and Nancy, not Richard and Nancy, and Priscilla, didn't they know something about somebody being in the bed? Because he told Priscilla that your husband was in the bed with my wife last night or something like that. And Priscilla could have said something. And that's why I don't like her. Because I don't care what's going on. Us black people, we got to stick together sometime. You got to look out for your man. You don't want him to get shot. She stopped playing these games, Anyway, Sam took this minute to tell Richard that he detained one of the raccoon, people. And he's going to try to get him to talk and see if he knows where Barry is. So Richard's like, okay, cool. And now we over at this truck where Max is having a good time beating up that raccoon dude. He looked like he damn near dead. So then Bobby came in there and he's like, damn, Max, what you doing to him? You like messed him up. And the guy looked like he's knocked out, and he finally wakes up after, Max and Bobby, they got them going there back and forth, you got a little carried away. Okay, I'm sorry, whatever, and all that stuff. So the raccoon dude wakes up and he said he's ready to talk, but he didn't want to talk to Max. He wanted to talk to Bobby. And he's like, why? You got something, this is a racial thing? And he's like, you a white devil, that's why. And he wants Bobby to back him up. And Bobby ain't trying to back him up. So Bobby tells him to leave out. You want me to leave out? Yes, leave out. So Max leaves out and the guy starts talking and he's telling about the president's son and how the raccoon, the highest let him go because they read that the president's son was dead. But then that morning, the Secret Service guy came and stuff. And I guess, I don't know, does Bobby know? Can somebody put it down in the comment section? Did Bobby know that Sam went out there? Because Bobby seemed to be like not sure about that part. So he might not know that Sam went out there. He has to know because Max would have told him, right? So anyway, he said he would talk to him. He hates the government, and Bobby was telling him, "Yeah, I hate the government too, but I work for them." Why you work for them? He said there's evil in every form, in every form of occupation or whatever. He was telling them, which is true. He's true. I mean, they're evil over there at the raccoon camp. At the Rakadushi compound, there's evil over there. So I'm not understanding this guy, what he's thinking. And then Bobby's saying he recognizes him because he used to have a cabin there and the guy was trying to steal food. He used to have locks, he said. He said, yeah. He said, you let me go. And he said, yeah. So, Bobby was building that rapport with him to get the guy to talk. He gave him a handkerchief to wipe the blood off his face and all of that stuff. So we'll see if that works. I'm scared that guy might turn on Bobby and bust him upside the head and catch him off guard. That's what I was thinking. So anyway, now we back at the bunker with Alonzo and Kareem. And Alonzo wants Kareem to call his cousin again. So he does, and he reaches him, and he's like, I went to the hospital looking for you, blah blah blah. Where are you? And all this stuff. And Kareem's telling him we gotta hook up, we gotta link up and everything. Meet me at Kay and Vincent because we gotta talk. And his cousin kept wanting to say stuff. He said, nah, not on the phone, not on his phone. So Kareem told him he's on his way to meet him there now. But he didn't realize that Alonzo had no intentions on bringing him with him. So now Alonzo's playing tough and everything. And imagine if this and imagine if that. And he's acting like he's a tough guy. He's just going to scare him. He's not going to kill him. He's like, you're not going to take me? You just going to leave me here? He said, I have rights. He said, you don't have no rights. And, Alonzo playing tough guy. I'm like, no, I don't like this. How all of a sudden he think this is all good? He should be trying to do the right thing, regardless. I don't like how Alonzo is acting now when he was a real wussy, just earlier that day and the day before with snot coming out his nose in front of Donald and all of them and Kyle and everybody else. Anyhow, now it's over back to Donald and Victoria. Ugh. She's like in a hurry, rushing them. Like, where's Kyle? Is he there yet? And Donald's like, he's on his way. He's getting there. We'll call her and find out the status, and she's like, what do you see in her anyway? He's like, Victoria, we're not going to do this, Victoria. And she's like, no, like, really, what do you see in him? You don't want to tell me? He's like, there's nothing to tell. And I see nothing in him and stuff. And she starts with this, I'm your girlfriend, I'm your girlfriend. Well, you could talk about anything. You could tell me about anything. And he's like, okay, anything? He said, let's talk about you and the vice president. What's up with that? She did. I knew I was sitting there saying, ask her about Eli. Ask her about Eli. But you see, Victoria ain't trying to answer that. Acting like she don't know what he's talking about. What are you talking about? He said, oh, come on, Victoria. You know what I'm talking about. You know what's going on. He said, oh, you playing both sides, huh? And she's like, I'm not playing any sides. I'm the beginning and the end. He's like, if you say so. I said, right? And she's like, if you don't find that little bastard, he said, your son? She said, trust me, there's going to be a problem. He's going to get away and all of this stuff. And he's telling her to relax and everything. And he calls Kyle and Kyle gives his updated status saying they're almost close to the destination or the location. I'm sorry, location. So now he calls in Alan to get Victoria a drink, and Victoria decides to be a nasty biatch once again, because that's all she knows how to do. And Alan asks, "Ma'am, what can I get you?" And she starts saying, "I heard that girl, they had a funeral with her. The girl you were seeing, she had a funeral. Did you go?" "No, I didn't go." "Why not?" "Because I didn't want to see her that way." "Oh, that's so sad." And Donald's like, "That's enough, Victoria, that's enough." But she kept going. You know how Victoria is. She said no. She asked him, "Did you love her?" And he's like, "That's a legitimate question, And I'm talking to him, and he's telling Alan, "Don't go." And Alan goes, "Yeah, I did love her." And Victoria said, "Oh, that's too bad." And he's like, "Why is that, ma'am?" And she's like, "Because she was a whore, and a really bad one. She was sleeping with a lot of men around here." And that wasn't true. That wasn't true. She only slept with Victoria's husband, and that's why Victoria's mad, else she wouldn't care. But you walking around sleeping with everybody's wife. Husband yourself. That you doing the same thing she was doing. You ain't no better. And Donald was like, "That's enough, that's enough. Alan, go. Just go in there." And he's like, "Why did you do that?" And she's like, "Do what?" He said, "You're a bully. You're a real bully." And she was like, "No, I'm not. I'm just Victoria." And well, Victoria being so biatchy, if that's a word, it pushed Alan over the top. Whereas now Alan is like, you know what? He called those FBI agents. He's like, "I'm in. Y'all said y'all protect me. Please protect me." He said, "You know where I live." He said, "I'll call a guy. There's somebody there named Dale. He has something for you. He can give it to you. I'll call him ahead of time and let him know." And they're like, "Fine, okay." So they hang up. And he's like, they're like, "What do you think he has?" And all this stuff. They said something about wearing a wire. And if we do that, they'll be alerted right away. So I don't know what all of that talk was about. But they just headed out of the door. But the lady did say she knew he would come through. But he only came through because Victoria pushed him that way. And I'm glad she did. And I hope they take her behind down. So Alan calls Dale and tells him that this guy, Cal, Cal is coming to pick up the box. And Dale starts with "I don't feel very safe being here, and I don't know why I'm in the middle of this stuff. I don't like this." He said, "Well, you're deep in it right now." He in it because he worked at the pharmacy, so there ain't nothing Dale could do. That's you in it. And it's just basically all he had to do is get the guy the box. I don't know why he's making a big fuss over it and stuff. So now we're back at the White House, and Richard is leaving out his security or whatever, and Nancy's standing right there waiting for him like she said she would. But she's looking so pretty with that red dress. She got the makeup on. Her hair's looking nice. Richard waves her in to come through the security thing, and they go in the hallway, and he's like, "You wanted to talk here?" She said, "I couldn't let it wait." She knew he wasn't going to try to come home. That's why she went and met him at his place of business. So Richard looking at her all funky, talking about, "What is it?" And Nancy apologizes and says she's sorry. And he's like, "You said that before. You did it already." And she's like, "Just let me explain." He's like, "No, I don't need you to explain anything." You know, he's just upset. And she tells him, "Priscilla told me what she said, what I said, all the things I said, and I really apologize." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, fine." And then he said, I don't have headspace to deal with that. I'm trying to find Barry." She said, "We both are." And then he kind of came to his senses and said, "Yeah. Yeah, we both are." Realizing, yeah, that's your son. You got to focus on that and stop getting mad about something that happened 30 damn years ago, because it was at least 30 years ago when that happened, you know? So stop holding on to that stuff and get past it. Get mad at your daddy. Like I said, your daddy was the elder in this relationship. He's the one that probably wooed her and got her in there. And, he might have taken advantage of her immaturity while Richard was in the military. You know what I mean? He was the elder in this relationship. So anyway, Nancy said, "I'm gonna go home and get dinner ready." And Richard said, "Oh, I'm not coming home." And she said, "Where are you going?" He said, "To think." And she said, "Okay, I understand. I'm not going to argue with you." And Richard was like, "Good." And Nancy was like, "I'm sorry, Richard." And he said, "I do not need any more sorries from you." So now go over to that security desk where the Secret Service guys are monitoring stuff, and Sam's beeper goes off. It alerts him that Kyle is accessing the server, and he tells the agent, hears him say that. And Sam catches up with Kyle in the hallway, questioning him about why he was on that server and why he was accessing the first lady's phone records. And Kyle's acting like he don't know why, he don't understand. And Sam is asking him all the questions. Who gave you permission to do that? Why are you doing that? And Kyle said, Chief of Staff. He said, I thought the Chief of Staff was sent home by the president. That's by the vice president. He said the president. And then Sam told Kyle that he never did like his attitude. And he said, I'm sorry you didn't like my attitude or whatever it was. And he said, I'm going to have to speak to the president about this and let him know what's going on. And he said, have at it, go ahead. And he kind of tapped Sam on the arm, and Sam looked at, how you look at him, like where he touched him, and Sam patted him on the arm. And then before Kyle left, he pat Sam back on the arm. And then he went into Donald's office to let him and Victoria know what they found or did not find. It was a burner phone that Jason had. They didn't locate Jason. They got agents in the area and letting them know that Sam is on the server now, checking out everything he did. Now, he's in there all this time talking to them. If Sam, how would you know that Sam is on the server? Sam didn't say he was going on the server right now. But the time that he spent in that office talking to them, they show Sam coming out, telling the two agents to leave. He sits down maybe 10 seconds and Donald's already standing behind him. Come on, TP, make it make sense. How Donald get out there so quick behind Sam? And Sam is finding stuff out and looking, and he said, you want to give me that information? I'm just like, what is going on here? So we're going to see next week what's going on. Like I told y'all, this episode was like, it wasn't all that. So for those of you who feel like y'all want to comment about this episode, this silly, ridiculous episode, please put it down in the comment section, okay? And those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.